In this video, we're going to talk about naming angles and their sides, and specifically in 4 ways. Now, when you're talking about an angle, you want to use this symbol right here. This symbol means that you are talking about an angle. Okay, so instead of writing the word angle out every time, you're just going to use this symbol right here to represent angles. So when we're trying to name this angle, the most important thing you want to look at is the vertex. So in this case, our vertex is right here. It's vertex B. Okay, so we can call this angle B because that is where the vertex is. This is the short way of calling an angle, and you can only do that when it's just like this. If you just have a singular angle, then you can use the short way. But if you have lots of angles, like in this picture, you have to use the long way. Because if I were to just say angle B, are you talking about this angle, or this angle, or this angle, or this angle? We're not sure. So you have to use the long way if you have multiple angles. But if you just have one, then you can just use the short way. Okay? The long way would be using all of the points in the angle. Okay, kind of like you're connecting the dots. So we could say angle A, B, C, like that. So we would say angle A, B, C, or you could say it the other way. We could go angle C, B, A. We could go the other way. But the most important thing that you would have to pay attention to and remember is that the vertex is in the middle. Okay, so notice that in both of these examples, B is in the middle because that is the vertex. Okay, so the vertex of your angle has to be in the middle. Okay, so let's practice it when looking at a set of parallel lines with a transversal. If I want to talk about this angle right here, we can call it angle ABC, or we can call it angle CBA. We have to use just these because B is in the middle. We cannot use angle ACB because now we would be saying C is the vertex because it's the one in the middle, but it's not. So this would not work. Okay, only one of these angles would work for this angle right here. Okay, let's pick a different angle. Let's do this angle down here. Let's do this one right here. So in this case, our angle is this right here. It is an acute angle with a vertex of E. Okay, we can't just name it angle E because we have lots of angles that we're dealing with here. Okay, so we'd go angle BEF, just like you're connecting the dots. Remember that E has to be in the middle, so BEF, or you can go the other way, FEB. Okay, so both of those ways would work, angle FEB. Okay, let's try another one. Let's do this angle right here. Let's do this one. Okay, so it still has that vertex of E, but we're using completely different endpoints. We're using G and H as the other points in this angle right here. Okay, but we need to make sure E is in the middle, so we'd say angle GEH, connecting our dots, angle GEH, or we can go the other way saying HEG. That is the other way, angle HEG. Angle GHE would not work. Okay, why would it not work? Because your vertex is not in the middle. H is not the vertex here. It is an endpoint. Okay, so this is why this one would not work for this angle right here. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about how we would name a side of an angle. If we want to name a side of an angle, because I am just talking about this angle right here. Let's say these are our points. We have M, N, and P. Okay, if these are our points, if I want to talk not about the angle, but just about this side right here, you're going to write NP with a line on top. This line tells you that you're talking about a side. If I wanted to talk about this side up here, then we would write NM and we'd put that line on top. Okay, so if you want to talk about an angle, you're using the angle symbol. If you're talking about a side, you need the vertex and the endpoint and put a line on top of it. Okay, so if I was talking about this side right here, we would put the line and then write BC. Okay, if I wanted to talk about this side up here, then we would put a line and write BA. Okay, that is how you name a side. Now, in order to talk about shapes in this way, the other symbols that we need to talk about are parallel and perpendicular. Okay, when you have a parallel symbol, it's just two lines, and if you're saying perpendicular, it kind of looks like an upside down T. So if I were looking at this square right here, and I wanted to say that this side is parallel to this side, how we would say that is line AB is parallel to line DC. Okay, so this right here is a mathematical statement. We're non-language arts, so we don't like using a whole lot of words. We just want to shorten it with symbols. We don't want to write it all out with words. We want to use our symbols, okay? So that's what this means. If I wanted to look at these two sides right here and say that these two sides are parallel, okay? Then these two sides right here. Then we would say side AD is parallel to side BC. That's talking about these sides right here, okay? Now what if we wanted to talk about perpendicular? Okay, same concept, we're still going to use the sides, but now we're going to use this symbol right here instead. So if I wanted to talk about how BC and AB are perpendicular to each other, we would say line AB is perpendicular to line BC. Okay, AB is perpendicular to BC. Okay, let's do another one, but with the other side. Okay, let's use this right here. Let's do these two sides down here. We're going to say that these two sides are perpendicular to each other. So we're going to say side AD is perpendicular to side DC. And that is how you name sides and angles, both in a transversal and in shapes.